Good evening, everybody, or morning, or whatever time it is, wherever you are. As always, it's the same story. We're here, we're going to be watching me playing a game on Cliff. I'm going to be in the Tier 10 Chinese medium, the 121. One of my starting to be favourite Tier 10 medium tanks, purely because how intoxicating the alpha damage is, just off the chart. So we're playing a Tier 10 game, obviously, but there's not that many Tier 10s in the game, fortunately for me. As you can see, there's quite a few on our team compared to theirs. And the Tier 9s are nicely spread, so what. Ideally, when we're actually playing Cliff, this is the way I prefer to play it, is we all go up the hill. And one of the reasons why we all go up the hill, you have that height advantage over other people that play the game. This is where things start getting interesting. It's not very often you'll come across a team where they actually decide to go up the hill. And all of us decide to ignore Death Valley. It is called Death Valley for a reason, by the way, and it's because a lot of people will tend to die. If there were more tank destroyers on this game, you will see Death Valley being used a lot more than what it actually is now. Even though we've actually got more kind of tank destroyers in a way to them, only one more, you probably find it doesn't actually make that much of a difference. People will still go down Death Valley if they want to, as the other team will quite easily highlight. Because I'm relatively quick, I can go with the CDC, and we're going to be going up the top of the hill as quickly as possible without getting spotted and try and get to the water lighthouse. The gun depression in my tank is not particularly amazing, but that doesn't really bother me too much because I know that I can get the pop shots and roll back into cover. Unfortunately, it appears to be the other team has a different mindset, and the ones that have come up the hill have kind of hindered my actual progression all the way up there. So I'll use the rock as cover, stay away from artillery, and if I can, take pot shots at what's coming over. And as you can see, when I say take cover from artillery, I do mean cover from artillery. I'm not really looking to be in a position to push at the moment because of what is coming up and what is possible behind it. If I can do, I will take the shots off. I want to make sure that I'm either in cover away from people or have the opportunity to go up where I'm not going to get shot by more than one person. Unfortunately, someone does actually shoot me from down on Death Valley, which gives me the indication that a few more of their team have gone there. Also on the basis of how fewer people we've actually seen come up this hill. As you can see from the mini-map, people are pretty much stuck. It's a stalemate around the back of the map, so you have to find some other way of being able to push forward. Now, because people have gone Death Valley on their team, it opens up the gap, and the gap you can see is towards G6. There is a heavy tank that sat behind me who will exploit that gap, and I will go with him. We're trying to see if we can create a flank on 2 points on the top of the map. If we can take out the people at the top, it allows our team to push forward. The more numbers you have on top of the hill, the more likely you are to win. The way that Cliff works, getting the top of the hill is always going to be the best objective, I should say. So this is where we start moving around and start putting shots into the rear armour of every tank that cannot shoot us because it's too busy trying to shoot forward. So your classic flank. Unfortunately, what it doesn't take into account is a dipshit aiming. So if you don't aim right, you're not going to penetrate and actually do some damage. Yeah, good job 121, thanks very much. I blame RNG, don't blame my own skill, because why would I? Salt the unicorn, you get me. But taking the pot shots, going forward, going backwards, I don't want to put myself in a position whereby I'm going to get shot to shit, because I already am at the moment. Half health, I know it's not too bad, I'm only going up against tier 8, but that IS-3 has pretty much the same alpha damage as what I do, so I want to make sure I don't get hit by him. Fortunately, we do end up taking him out, and we can push around the final part of the flank, and then start going towards their base. Now, they've already lost pretty much half of their team. The artillery hasn't had much to do because it hasn't been able to shoot anything. Most of the stuff that we've had has gone around the back of the lighthouse, provides a lot of cover. And because nothing went into the middle, there was nothing on our team to counter that and go into the middle to try and battle away there. So the artillery hasn't had much to do in this game, thankfully. So as I'm pushing down, this is where we get to the moment where we find out where the rest of their team actually are. It seems to be that there are a couple of heavies who aren't platoon, which is very unusual, who haven't really included themselves much in the game. They've gone into Death Valley and they've gone into the ball, but they haven't done anything from there. So again, the only thing I'm expecting to find up here is the artillery, which is going to be primary target number 1, because I despise artillery. But also at the same time, it's an easy target. I don't really need to shoot the ball stick because he's being hit by other people. I'll get the spotting damage for it. And finally, move into the middle to finally mop up and clean up. This is not something that you will find on a regular basis happens on Cliff. It always seems to be the opposite for me. I tend to be on the other team losing one. But taking the hill, in particularly any map itself is ideal, because you've always got the opportunity of shooting down. If you shoot down on top of tanks that have armor, you'll find the roof isn't that armored, and in some cases you can overmatch it, so it would be ideal to take the hill in every case. There are some, like Malinovka, in some cases you can kind of push around the bottom part and leave the hill alone, but that's on a case by case basis. Finally, we're coming up on the last two heavy tanks. It's pretty much a whitewash. Currently 13-5 at the moment as he gets the last kill, but he's pretty much had it. As you can see, we've only lost 5 tanks in this entire encounter, even though it's not about the same encounter, but we've only lost 5 tanks in total. This has been a complete whitewash. I haven't done that well myself in terms of the amount of damage. I've only had 6 actual penetrating shots that did damage and only got 2,605 overall. But if you have a look at what our team has been able to do, the people towards the top, you got your 4k damage on your Conqueror, 4.4 on the AMX-50B, 3.7 on the Chieftain. I'm only there with 2.6, which is not really a regular occurrence, but when you have a team that works well, the damage is shared about, and it's shared about between the tanks that should have it. Maybe the Conqueror was taking a bit more damage than I would expect one to take, but yeah, robbing all that damage. This is one of those games I like to show, because I like to show how good a specific type or move that people make overall as a team, how well it can work. It's not quite a 15-0, but it's pretty close. Unfortunately, the rest of their team, look, I dream of games like this where I can actually just go forward and have a team that you know will support you. So if you find yourself in a position where you see people going down Death Valley, take it easy. Don't go rushing around the top, because you'll find yourself in a position like this. You can only hold off for so long. Try and keep an eye on the minimap and see what's going on. Hopefully you enjoyed the video, and as always, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, and I will be putting more up. They might be slightly more detailed than this one. It won't include all the mini-maps and where people are going. It's just basically a highlight of the game I played. But as always, have fun, and I shall see you later.